What do you make of the first 41 days of the US's new foreign policy? Is it good for India? Is it good for the world?
Well, it's interesting. And I think, and some of it, I must say in all honesty, is not surprising. If you actually tracked it and assume that most of the time, political leaders at least do much of what they promise to do. They do not always succeed, or they do not always get everything they want, but as a general principle, when people, when political forces or political leaders have an agenda, and particularly if it is one which they have developed over a fairly long period of time and have been very articulate, even passionate about it, then I think much of what we have seen and heard over the last few weeks was to be expected. So I'm a little surprised that people are surprised. Now, that said, is it good for India? In many ways, I would say yes. My Prime Minister was in Washington about 2 weeks ago. I had accompanied him. I was myself there for the presidential inauguration. And when I look at our interests and our expectations of the relationship, I think there's a lot of promise we see there. Conceptually, I think we see a president and an administration which in our parlance is moving towards multipolarity, and that is something which suits India. When
you say that they are moving towards multipolarity, do you mean accepting or even encouraging there being many poles of power in the world?
I think practicing, and by practicing, promoting. That since 1945, one tends to think and talk about the United States as US and the Western world. So it's more like a bloc rather than a nation. I think what is quite clear is the US's own self-perception is now more as a nation and perhaps a little less as a bloc. Not entirely, as one and not the other, but definitely the needle has moved in the direction of a more national personality and a more national analysis of its self-interest. If one looks, at our own relationship politically, to be very honest with you, we've never had any issues with American presidents, at least in recent times. There's no baggage which we carry or burden that the relationship carries. I think from President Trump's perspective, the one big shared enterprise that we have is the Quad. And the Quad is an understanding where everybody pays their fair share. So there's no spat about who's paying for whom. There are no free riders in Quad. So that's a good model for which works, which was restarted during President Trump's first term. And if I were to look at some of the big priorities of this president, many of them actually work for us. He seems to be, for example, committed to keeping energy prices reasonably affordable and stable. We welcome that. He is putting a lot of emphasis on tech, on the development of tech, on the use of tech as a game changer in global politics. I think that offers a lot of possibilities, for us. He appears open to connectivity initiatives of a certain collaborative nature. We have deep interest in that. So I would say, and of course, he has a certain view of trade, as you may have noticed.
I was sitting here thinking we've got this far without mentioning trade or indeed tariffs, and I was wondering where you thought India would come out of this great tariffs exercise.
I was coming there with Babet.
Good. I'm just making sure we get that.
We had a very open conversation about it, and the result of that conversation was that we agreed on the need for a bilateral trade agreement. And our trade minister, in fact, is there in Washington doing exactly that right now.
I was thinking as you were talking, the piece in the Financial Times by Martin Wolf this week saying the West is over. Do you think that's right?
I wouldn't put it so sharply, but I would say today there are clearly, American interests are more sharply defined, and I suspect so are European interests. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure where exactly Britain is, probably non-aligned between the two, but it's very clear.
It's possible that it has not yet sharply defined its interests, but we might come on to Britain in a moment. But just staying with this picture, I would love to hear more about where India is going to position itself. Multipolarity, as you said. There is China. We still don't know exactly what the US might choose to do with China. Mm-hmm. It's clearly bringing Russia a bit more in from the cold. Where is India going to put itself in this position?
Vis-a-vis the US or vis-a-vis
US and China, yes. All this is shifting.
Look, our endeavor, at least for the last decade, has been to try to see if we can actually develop all the big relationships in a way, and the non-big relationships as well. In parallel, we understand that each one of them is different. Sometimes the issues are different. I'm not saying that it means being equidistant or behaving the same with everyone. I think in each case, it has to be customized, it has to be assessed. And then you look at, what are the advantages and what are the challenges and what are the benefits and what are the risks, and you arrive at a certain position or equilibrium. And if we can do that successfully with all the major powers and groupings, that actually puts you in a much better position in a world which we could see was heading towards multipolarity. So it's, think of it really as, in a sense, from what used to be said was a very bipolar world, which wasn't entirely true, and then a unipolar, which also wasn't entirely true. But today, if you have many more centers of decision making, many more sources of influence, many more discussions with multiple players to really address any solution or any situation. I think that's the kind of world, and I think the country which has the maximum flexibility and the least problems is obviously better off in that world, and that's our endeavor.